It was good, wasn't it?
It was very good. I can't believe how quickly we're learning, sort of, you know, we've learnt 2 more notes today, add those, you know, up to the other lessons, we're on to 4 notes that we know now.
Yep. Do you know what the 2 new notes are which we learned so far today?
C and D.
Very good. And where do you find those notes?
On the 3rd string, at the 5th and the 3rd fret.
And which one's which?
Oh, now you're asking me. That one is C.
No.
No.
You should have rehearsed it.
That's all right.
Good.
That one's D and that one is C.
Absolutely, yeah. We're using the 1st finger, and as you say, we're just playing that 1 string. So we've come a long way. So far, we've been playing quarter notes. What we should do now to put all this new stuff we've got into practice is use 1/8 notes like we did before in some of the earlier lessons.
I remember
So instead
them.
of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, we count
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
So that would be a bar of each, still, a bar of C, and then a bar of D, just as we had in the last exercise before the break. But this new exercise will have 1 bar of each, 1/8 notes.
All right, let's have a look at how it goes on the video.
Yeah, good idea.
I'll load this up for us there.
Thank you very much. So we can
Not a problem.
see how it's played perfectly. Here it comes.
Okay.
Very good, yeah.
It's quick, isn't it?
Yeah, surprisingly, isn't it? Surprisingly quick.
This is going to take more concentration.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
2
obviously
and 3
the tempo is still the same, but because we're playing 1/8 notes, there's more in there. That's why it seems quicker, right?
Yeah, yeah. You mustn't feel rushed, but you do have to get a move on. But I think if you keep the 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe tap your foot, you know, and keep that kind of physical reference point with the tempo, or the pulse as we call it, it'll be easy to subdivide that. Do you want to play that video again? Or you've closed it down, that's fine.
When you're tapping your foot, you tap it on the 1, 2. We don't tap it on the and, do we, in the 1/8?
No, it's an interesting thing, this. We tap on the 1, 2, 3 and 4, as you say, and that's the downbeat when our foot goes down. But if you think about tapping your foot, if you tap your foot down 1, in order to tap it on 2, you've got to lift it up.
Yes.
So musicians talk about the downbeat, or the onbeat, and the upbeat, or the offbeat. So you can kind of use your foot to tap, obviously, the 1, 2, 3, 4, but you can think about where your foot comes up as being 1 and 2 and 3, and it's kind of like that alternating thing we were thinking about earlier, to help you subdivide or measure out the time and the pulse.
No, it's always good to have a sort of physical thing to represent what we're hearing musically.
Yeah.
I think.
So if I try and demonstrate that now, that exercise again, before we go to the extractor. The last exercise was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and this time I'm going to go to 1 and 2 and 3.
So you're using the alternate fingers there as well.
And that's a good thing about bass playing, and that right hand alternating thing. It takes care of that, and it helps you to track the notes. That wasn't very good. I was talking. I got caught in there in a crossfire.
Sorry, always remember to concentrate when you're practicing, Terry.
Thank you.
That's all right.
So I'm just about ready, I think, to play along with the band, playing this exercise with C's and D's, 1/8 notes. If you look at my leg, I've kind of got a...
You've got your groove going on there, haven't you?
I've got my strong downbeat, but I'm also kind of subdividing that to give me the feel of the 1/8 notes. So I've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2. And that's on C and 2 and 3 and 4 and D and 2 and 3 and 4 and C and 2. Great.
3, 4 and... Good stuff.
Thank you very much. Very nice.
There we've got C and D.
So that's C and D now, playing 1/8 notes and making sure that I'm changing at the right time and staying in time and on time, and I've got that consistency and that elegancy and that flow about it, and also making sure that I mark out the 1/8 notes.
At the beginning of the lesson, in part 1, we had our lesson objectives.
Yes.
One of those, I seem to remember, was reaching that rock groove.
Yeah.
What do we need to know to do that?
What we're going to try and do, and this is what we're always doing here at Gigajam, isn't it, is accumulating, you know, putting it all together.
Yeah.
So remembering what we talked about earlier, the lessons, the exercises, and then trying to use all that knowledge and information to create even better rock grooves. So in this lesson we've learned the notes of C and D. In the earlier lessons we learned the notes of A and G. So the plan now is to put it all together.
C, A, G and D?
Yeah, play an exercise with all those 4 notes in. So let's just remind ourselves what we're doing.
Okay.
We're putting it all together here. We're playing G, which is the 3rd fret of the E string, the 4th string. And then A, which is the 5th fret of the E string, the 4th string.
So that was G
and A.
And A.
Okay.
G and A, yes.
And the new notes we learned today were on a different string.
Yeah.
So we've got a new problem. We've got to learn to control changing strings. We call that string crossing, crossing strings, crossing from one string to another. So we're going to have to learn to put that control in place, the technique again. So the other notes on this string, which is a cross or up one, is up onto the 3rd string, which is the
down in my case.
Down in your case, up in terms of sound, as it were, because we're going up to higher notes. So that's going on to the A string, which is the 3rd string, and again playing the same fret locations. It's still 3rd fret and 5th fret. So the C is on the 3rd fret and the D is on the 5th fret. So the frets don't change. It's the same fret for both strings. It's the crossing of the strings. So it's kind of good and bad news. The good news is it's only the 3rd fret, whichever string you use, and the 5th fret. The difficult thing is actually changing from string to string, crossing from string to string at the right time.
Ah, with your playing hand, you mean?
Yeah,
as
so I
opposed
could.
to your fretting hand.
Yeah, good point. It's only the right hand, isn't it, that has to worry about that. The left hand, you can kind of.
Should we be keeping it in the same position then?
You can kind of do it. It's going to make it easier, isn't it? When we looked at Dave on the videos, we noticed how economical and smooth and how little movement there was. So let's try and see if we can copy that and just pivot here so that our first finger covers, if you like, almost both strings at the same time.
Which doesn't matter because we're only playing one string at a time.
We're only going to strike one. So provided we haven't got them both pressed down, I've kind of got, if I want the G, which is on the E string, I'll press down that, but I'll probably leave it just above, guarding that other string.
So it's there ready,
and then I can just drop it on, and when I drop it on, I'm kind of pivoting and lifting. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to sort of do it with this, obviously, for the right-handed viewers. It's almost the tip of your finger on there for that one at the top, and then just rolling it down. Great explanation, Natalie, thank you, yeah. I should be a bass teacher, shouldn't I?
So if we look at where those notes are without any rhythm, just to locate the notes, we've got G, which is the 3rd fret of the E string, and then A, which is the 5th fret of the E string, and then that moves up to C, which is on the 3rd fret of the A string, and up to the 5th fret, which is D. So they're the 4 locations. So you can see that little shape, really, that little box shape almost, of going from there to there, and then from there to there. You can kind of take a mental image, a mental photograph of that image, see where you've got to be.
Let's move on to our exercise then. Let's put this into practice.
Yeah, great. If you don't mind scrolling down to the next exercise. This is introducing string crossing, and the exercise to help us practice that and put all that knowledge and our understanding of that knowledge into practice is written out there.
That's exercise 5 for those of you that are following the course.
Thank you. Remember that it's 8th notes, so we've got to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so there's quite a lot going on here.
And finger-wise, are we doing 1, 2, 1, 2?
Very good, yeah, alternating with the right hand. You see, I'd forgotten that. There's so much to remember.
There is a lot, yeah.
You've got a lot to keep your eye on. So shall we have a look at the video?
OK, let's have a look at the video.
Yeah. Let's look at it in progress.
So if you talk us through this, Terry, and which notes we're on.
A on the 5th fret, down to G, and then across the string, and then back up to D.
So it's going up chromatically, isn't it?
Yes. Shall we try that again?
OK.
Have a look at that again, because it was quite a short clip.
Once more?
Yeah. Thanks, Natalie. I think it's worth it.
So
2 and
G,
3.
A.
Other way around.
A.
C.
Yeah.
So if I pick up from that, it would be A, G. Trying to remember what I saw, C. And I'm also looking at the notation. G and 2 and 3 and 4 and C and 2
It's like you're drawing a rectangle on the neck of the guitar.
That's a great explanation.
All right. And you're reading this music as well, obviously, because you can see when the note's higher and lower, it's moving up and down on the stave.
Yeah, over the years, obviously, I've memorised that stuff. I know where A is written on the bass clef, and G, and C, and D, and I hopefully recognise those when they come up again.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I'm loading up the extractor now.
Thank you.
So you can play along...
With the band.
With the Gigajam band.
Great.
And I'll check your technique out.
Thank you. This is exercise 5, string crossing, using A, G, C, and D. A.
Yes.
G. C. D. A and 2 and 3 and 4 and G and 2 and 3 and 4 and C and 2 and 3 and 4 and D and 2 and 3 and 4 and A.
There are so many things to be thinking about whilst doing this, aren't there?
There are. Both hands, all doing different things.